Well, it's not clickbait. What you saw on the thumbnail is actually true, so I'm not trying to clickbait anybody in here. Got a little harassment over my last video where there was a girl there and then the girl didn't really exist. Spoiler, she's fake, she's AI generated. But anyways, I won't do that anymore, it was just for fun. In this video, I'm gonna be talking about a couple of things. The thumbnail, what you see there, that did happen. I was supposed to fly that plane. Unfortunately, it led, that airplane and the situation that happened led to a fatal crash. So we're gonna kind of talk about that in this video. Also, I'm gonna talk more detail about the conversation I had with somebody who works for the worked for the FAA. I'm not gonna get into too much detail about that person because I just don't want to throw them under the bus. Not that it matters because everybody should know this information, but I just wanna relay, I've talked about it before in videos, but I just kind of wanna relay what that person told me and kind of show you why it's important that you know that. So in this particular video, it probably is aimed more towards people who wanna buy an airplane or somebody who's like into ultralights, and they see all these ridiculous videos that say, no license required, you know, no training. I've seen that before too. And it's ridiculous because like there's people on TikTok that have ultralights and they clearly have no clue what they're doing. It's just only a matter of time before they get hurt. And it's just, this is becoming a problem. I've had multiple conversations with people about this. Literally, I was going back through my emails and my texts and all that stuff. I want to say in 2025 alone, I've probably talked to 40 people that are kind of in this scenario. And you're going to know who you are. There's all you guys, people that subscribe. I am not doing this video to come down on you or anything like that, but I want to see everybody stay alive. And I think that's the most important thing. And so that's what this video is about. Before I do that, I want to talk for the regular people about videos that are upcoming. I am making some alterations to the Challenger 2, the Aviation Adventure Boys Challenger 2, and there's going to be some videos on it. The first video you're going to see, I'm replacing my front nose gear. If for you who are on Facebook and stuff, you've seen that a gentleman by the name of Richard started making these gears, front nose gears that have suspension up there. So, you know, the wheel will go up and down. Well, guess what? He's sponsoring a video. He's coming all the way here to help me install it. So if you are interested in seeing how that does, and even seeing a flight or seeing me taxi, and I'll have a camera down there and all that stuff, then make sure you like and subscribe. Well, you know, the like is, you could do that, but subscribe so you can see that video. It'll probably be over the weekend. Some of the other projects I have going on, these two things here are going to go in here. And basically this is going to be an area where I can have storage instead of a passenger because I have a pretty big couple months coming up, hopefully weather permitting. A gentleman by the name of Scott over at Scott's Got Wings YouTube channel. It's a smaller channel, but I think he's does pretty good. He actually is the Challenger that goes in and out of Oshkosh, and so he has videos flying in and out of Oshkosh. I'll link them below. But he is sending me another stick, and that way I can cut that stick, the one he's sending me, and put just a little stick in here to where my platform will be actually above it, and then I can use this space for storage too. So this piece of wood, the other side that looks prettier, will be there. And then also this is from Scott. No, I built all this, but this idea is from Scott. But you know, essentially there's gonna be a block over the throttle, so nothing in my back seat can accidentally hit the throttle. That'll be pretty cool. And then something, I'm excited about all these things, so I don't know which one is more exciting. But then You Fly It, kind of sponsoring a video. I did have to pay for it, but they hooked me up to kind of talk about it a little bit. And we were gonna be putting fairings, finally putting fairings on the Challenger. I did have to buy the ones that were cut in half because the shipping was literally like a quarter of the cost. But we're gonna be throwing these bad boys on there. So I'll have a video where I do like a flight before and a flight after so that we can see what the speed difference is. One thing that is gonna be a factor is I believe that the new nose wheel that we're putting on, the new nose gear, it's larger. I'll put a picture of it up, and you probably saw it a minute ago. So I don't know if it's gonna put up a little bit more drag, but I think that these will pretty much offset it pretty good. In between adding that nose gear and doing this, I'm hoping to get about 6 miles an hour. That'd be great. All right, guys, so sorry I'm kind of yelling into the camera here. I don't have my mic set up. I have my mic set up, but there's a cable that you have to use to get to the GoPro, and I didn't bring that. For people who are new here, I want my channel to be way more about adventure than it is about this stuff, but unfortunately it is so hot and so disgusting. Doing this type of stuff in the summertime is just not fun. So that's why you're seeing some videos kind of like this one. In the immediate future, I actually have some pretty big plans, and that's why you're seeing all the alterations to this airplane. Don't worry, very shortly, in a few seconds here, I'm gonna get to what the thumbnail is about, so don't lose me yet. So in the immediate future, the end of September, October, September 24th through 28th is at Birds in Arkansas. Myself and a group of my friends are gonna fly up there. We think that's the plan. We're all kind of low and slow, you know, a Piper Cub and a Kit Fox. There are some other people in the group, but they'll probably shoot in front of us because it's not always fun when you have a faster airplane. So for me, it's honestly more about the travel, you know, the adventure getting there and stuff than it is gonna be sitting there. So that's gonna be coming up on my channel. And here's the thing, this is all weather permitting. It's very possible that I actually leave Arkansas and at Birds in the Challenger, and I start to head to Americus, Georgia. I'll have multiple days to do it. It's kind of nerve-wracking flying a plane that far, mostly because of the comfort level, not because it's not capable of it. But if the weather is good, I'm gonna do that. And so some of the factors I'm gonna take in place is if the trip, even to Birds, if it has more than like an 18 to a 20 mile an hour headwind or tailwind, I'd probably not do the flight. Also, if I have more than like a 13 or 15 crosswind component the whole time, anybody who flies these planes knows that when you have a plane like this, you are flying like this sideways through the air, and it really makes you nauseous. So I can't imagine spending hours and hours and hours flying sideways. I want to be able to bring you guys this content, but I can't promise it because of the weather. That being said, Americus, Georgia is where what potentially could turn into one of the coolest events of the year for people who fly these type of aircraft is, I don't even know what it's called. I'll put it up on the screen right now, but it's just October, I think 2nd through the 4th. And there's gonna be a lot of people there, I believe. I was talking about it with Brian over at the Experimental Aviation channel. It sounds like it's gonna be pretty awesome. There's gonna be a lot of people there, and you can learn a lot about these planes. If you are anywhere near Americus, Georgia on those days, please come to the event. You don't have to have an airplane to be there, and there will be people there. I know Mark Murray will be there. He is a CFI, and he's awesome. And if you have any questions for him, he'll be able to answer them. I'll answer as many questions as possible. Obviously, I'm not a CFI, but if you wanna talk about airplanes, I'll be there. It's just gonna be a great time, I think. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna get this there or not. There is a small possibility I trailer this there if the weather's bad, but the weather's nice there, but the weather's bad for the travel. So that being said, actually, hold on. Look at this. So subscriber Richard bought this off of my Amazon wish list. I know you're thinking, geez, like, what do you need that for? I have an Amazon wish list full of things that I can put back here that are lightweight. This thing is a seat that holds 300 pounds, but it only weighs 2 pounds. And you can see I'm 238. Don't worry about that noise, but look at this. Look at how comfortable I am. So Richard, thank you so much, buddy. I'm assuming you're a subscriber, or else you probably wouldn't have bought that. If you guys are interested in helping me out for my longer trips and making content, go to the Amazon wish list and maybe help me out. You don't have to, just subscribing and stuff is great, and I appreciate that, but that type of stuff really helps too, because I'm unemployed. I did have an interview, which is a really cool opportunity potentially the other day. And if I get this job, it actually will help this, not hurt this. So to be determined on that. I don't know whether that's gonna happen or not. And I can't wait to tell you guys what it is if it does happen, because it'll blow your mind. Enough of all that, let's talk about what the thumbnail is. So about 6 months ago, I was reached out to by all of a sudden 3 people. I got messages from 3 people over a period of 2 or 3 days, and it was all of the same airplane. It was this Rans. A few people were really interested in it. One person realized it was a single-seater and backed out. But the 2 people that were really interested in it asked me if I would transport this airplane from Oklahoma to Texas or Oklahoma to Arkansas, depending on which person it was who purchased the airplane. I, of course, said yes, the airplane looks awesome. As long as it checks out, I would gladly do that for free because I can make content, maybe just throw fuel in it, whatever, we'll figure it out. And unfortunately, the 2 people that I was talking to with it, I think they either went a different direction with what they were gonna buy, or they just didn't buy it, or they didn't work a deal out. I was bummed out. and realizing that I really wanted to fly that plane because it looks awesome, but that's okay. Unfortunately, 6 months down the road, it finally gets sold, and I get a message from a news person, a person who works at a news agency in Oklahoma. And it just says, hey, will you come on air and talk about this accident? Well, unfortunately, it went to my spam, so I wasn't actually able to go on air and talk about it because I didn't get back to them in time. They found somebody else, which is fine. That's not what this is about. What this is about is what happened with the airplane. So a gentleman who, and I want to go on record for saying this man lost his life. I'm not talking negatively about this gentleman. And I'm telling you, I do have some insider knowledge because I have talked to somebody who is directly involved in this, but nothing is 100% here. So in a nutshell, a gentleman who is not a pilot purchased the aircraft, had a person who is a pilot go pick it up. The person who picked it up said it flew great, from what I understand. The person who purchased it couldn't find training. It's a single-seat aircraft for starters, but finding somebody with a two-seat aircraft like this to do training isn't exactly something that you can just easily find. Off the top of my head, I can only list a handful of them. Actually, I'll do it really quick. So you got Mark Murray in Georgia. If you are anywhere near Georgia, reach out to Mark Murray. In Nevada, you have Paul Hamilton. I believe he'll do, I don't know if he has an ultralight like that, but I know he'll be involved in that sports stuff like that. And then of course you got Wolf up at Captain Drake's up in Oregon. That's where I plan on going to get my CFI check ride done. And so yeah, if you are looking for someone like that, please reach out to those guys. But the moral of this story is that that gentleman obviously didn't have this option. There wasn't anybody there to do that. And from what I understand, he got impatient and said, well, they don't, an ultralight version, which this is a registered aircraft, so it was not an ultralight. Don't get me started on that, but not in this case, but in general. But he took off, and I believe he stalled while he was climbing out. Because again, if you're not trained and you don't know what you're doing, this is a very dangerous sport. And that's one of the main reasons I'm making this video. Unfortunately, this gentleman did lose his life, and it hit me hard because I was supposed to fly that plane. There's a lot of things lately, we obviously had Peter's video a while back, and now, these things happen every day. Just do what I did. Put an ultralight crash and put the name of your town or anything like that. And there are hundreds. Look, I literally put one in Oklahoma, and there are hundreds of results. You could just go through them. And, I don't know how many of them are fatal or how many of them people survive, but realistically, it doesn't matter. It's a very, very, very high number. It's an alarming high number. So the moral of that story is, please don't watch my videos or someone else's videos and think, man, I've got to go buy a single-seat ultralight and go fly. Please don't get yourself hurt. If I found out that this gentleman was a subscriber of mine and went and bought that airplane because he watched my stuff, it would absolutely devastate me, because I do everything in my power to make you guys know training is the most important thing. I want people to come to this sport, but you need to go to the professionals, like the people I listed off. You need to make sure that you do it safely. And I know what you're saying, but John, it doesn't require a license or a training and blah, blah, blah. No, nothing says that it doesn't require training, and nothing says it does require training. But let's get into the reason why it says that you don't require a license or a certificate to fly an ultralight. All right, so like I told you, I have made a contact that has worked for the FAA for a very long time. And I can't tell you exactly what their job is, because then it would throw this person under the bus, but I assure you this person knows this book very well. And here's the conversation we had. I'll say he because it was a gentleman. He asked me, obviously he didn't want to be involved in it. I asked him if I could film our conversation. He said no. That's okay, this has been a little while. The FAA with Part 103, they're not trying to tell you what is an ultralight. They are telling you what an airplane isn't, which is why it says ultralight vehicle. It doesn't say ultralight aircraft. So by writing this one page, it's 1.5 page, and then it goes to Part 105, which is like parachute stuff. By writing that, they have removed liability from single-seat ultralights, from aircraft like that. And according to him, the reason this is the liability is so high. There are not enough employees at the FAA to go and investigate crashes. So these crashes end up being investigated as a Vehicle crash, which means the sheriff's department or the police department, wherever this happens, is the one to investigate it. The FAA steps in when the vehicle is no longer an ultralight and it's an airplane. And why this is important to someone like you or somebody who's wanting to fly ultralights, they can't tell you you need training. If they say, hey, if you're gonna fly this vehicle, you must get training. Why can't they tell you that? Because then they assume the liability of you. Hey, wait a minute, the FAA says I need training in Part 103. So all of a sudden now, they're responsible for your actions, and they're not going to do that. There is not enough employees to go. I asked him, I said, how many ultralight accidents do you think happen annually? And he said, honestly, it's probably more like daily. And most of them lead to fatality. And it's just a very unsafe thing, and they don't have enough resources to investigate it. And they're not gonna say that because they don't want to change they don't want to accept liability. So my suggestion to you, if you're watching this video because of this, is to get a far aim. Sorry, Glime, this one we got out in the rain. To get a far aim, read this, take what I'm saying to heart. And it is not easy to fly ultralights. I know people are like, oh, I flew an ultralight, it flies real safe, and it was really fun, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, if you don't have any adverse weather conditions and you have a really good understanding of how things work, you're gonna pull off some pretty successful flights. But there's gonna be the time that you need training. So there are so many accidents that just happen even just while taxiing around off into the, because they just don't understand. It's hard to use your feet for brake and gas in a car all your life. And then all of a sudden now they have to be rudder pedals. So this is where training, and that's just one minute thing. Obviously the most important thing is emergency procedures. I talk about it all the time. In an ultralight, when the engine shuts off, the procedure needs to be nose to the ground because they don't have a glide ratio. They don't weigh anything, they're a wiffle ball. But what do people do? They pull back, you're done, that's it. Unfortunately, this might even be what happened to Peter. Granted, he was in an actual aircraft. It was considered an ultralight in Canada. But obviously it was a two-seater, a heavier airplane, and all of those things. So I don't have the preliminary on that yet. So I'm not talking about that in this video. But I am talking about just because it says you don't need a license or a certificate or training, it doesn't mean you should go buy this airplane. Now, don't let this stop you, just do it the right way. I talked to so many people, it's so frustrating. And I'm not trying to be mean to you people that I've talked to. You all are great. I haven't had a bad interaction with any, and almost everybody has heeded my warnings and taken my advice and backed off until they could get training. But I don't want people to lose their life because of watching my videos and getting excited about flying. I want you to get excited about flying and go get training. That would be my goal, and that would make me really happy, actually. Be cautious of these videos that say no license required, or all these things that basically say you don't need any training and whatnot. There's actually a good one, no license required, that is a good one that talks about getting training, and that's Brian, like I had mentioned earlier at the Experimental Aviation channel. He did it right. He did a voiceover, showed some airplanes you can get, awesome airplanes, and talked about how in his thing he just kind of puts a snippet in there. Hey, just so you know, still reach out and get training, and I love that. That was great, and it's very true. If you don't get training, unfortunately, you will definitely have a very high probability of ending up like the gentleman who bought the Rands. And also that, it was an illegal action because it's not an ultralight. It was a single seat registered aircraft. I guess just some people get these and think that they can just make them an ultralight. Once it's end numbered, I don't believe it can ever become an ultralight again. And realistically, we all know it. It's the elephant in the room, but pretty much most ultralights aren't actually ultralights anyways. They don't actually fit in this. It's just something that everybody remains quiet about, and they're like, oh, hopefully nobody talks about it and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is it's really hard to meet these Part 103. So I hope that you guys took something from this video. I just want you to be safe. I want everybody to stay alive and enjoy flying. For some people, I've actually had people reach out and say, hey, I thought about doing it, but you know what? I'm just gonna live through your videos, watching your videos, and I appreciate you guys. And that doesn't mean I don't want people to do it. I definitely want you to do it, but do it the right way, get training. And that's all I can ask from everybody. I appreciate you watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think. Another thing I would like to do too, if you're a CFI who has an airplane like this, throw your information in the contacts. People who are watching this video, hopefully you can go down to the, I said contacts, in the comments of this video. If you're watching this video and you're looking for somebody, maybe we can get people to comment down here where they are and what type of airplane they have and if they're a CFI, and maybe you can get training that way. But please, please, please reach out, get training. I appreciate everybody, and I guess we'll see you on the next one. And like I said, next time we're gonna be working on the plane, and then towards the end of the month, we have some big stuff planned. So subscribe, like, share, comment, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your neighbor. And also, my thing I used to say at the end of my videos when I first started making videos, because I think it's pretty fitting. And Dr. Safety, who I fly with as a safety pilot in the bigger aircraft, he said, you should start using it again. So I'm gonna start using it again. And that is, fly something sketchy. So at the end of my videos, I'm gonna start saying fly something sketchy. Maybe one day we'll get some shirts made or something, but until the next one, I appreciate everybody.